G'day everyone and welcome back to another video. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be talking about another really chill game called Cloud Gardens, which has just come out on Steam and you can pick it up for about $5. Cloud Gardens is sort of hard to describe. It's a little bit like a puzzle game and a little bit like a gardening simulator, but the whole experience is really quite wonderful and it's a super relaxing game. The premise of the game is pretty simple. Basically, you're given a particular landscape or a particular environment which you interact with by planting different plants and also placing different objects. There's both a sandbox style editor where you can just make whatever you sort of feel like, and also a progression style system where you basically go through different levels. When you first load up Cloud Gardens, this is what you start with, and it's really sort of simple game. It doesn't really hold your hand too much. There are some little icons to sort of indicate what you should be doing, but there are a few things you need to figure out yourself, and I'll try not to sort of spoil anything in this video. I'll make a separate video with some of the sort of strategy behind it, because part of the nice process that you go through is discovering these things yourselves. Basically, if you click on something like that thing there, it'll generate this sort of plant ball, and you can pick those plant balls up, place them onto the landscape, and you'll start to see plants grow. As you grow plants, this little meter down the bottom here fills up, and when it gets all the way to green, you can progress to the next level. And this is the sort of format that you follow all the way through. So as you can see here, there's about 45 levels we can access at the moment. First ones you get through quite quickly, and the later ones tend to last quite a bit longer, maybe 10 to 15 minutes per level, depending on how much you sort of want to rush through it. This is an early access game, so there is more coming out at the moment too, and there's a lot of more potential for this game to grow, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of features they add to it. Let's jump into one of the later levels that I've gotten to, and we'll have a look at one of these more complicated sort of environments. So you can see here things start to get quite a bit more detailed once we get to the later stages. I'm just going to have a quick run through and plant some plants for you so you can sort of see what happens. Clicking this ball again will give us a little plant ball, so we can pop that. I'm going to place that in the soil there, and once I've placed it, it'll start to grow. And you can see here with these later stages, you get these objects that sort of come up, and we want to place these in the environment too. When we place these objects, that's going to sort of fertilize our plants and cause them to grow. And the aim is to get the plants to grow these flowers here. We basically can click on these flowers, and that gives us this sort of plant juice which feeds into our generator over here, and then we can use that to create more plants. If I click into this little card, you can see these are the plants that I have unlocked at the moment, and you don't start with all of these, you only start with one of them, but over time you sort of unlock new ones. I'm not sure if there's more that I haven't gotten yet, but I imagine that they will add to this over time too. Each plant grows a different way, grows sort of a different direction and a bit differently on the different landscapes, and it flowers differently as well. So there's a little bit of strategy as to where you place your plants and also where you place your objects to sort of get the most out of the flowering system. Just going to click on this cactus style plant here, generate another plant ball. I'm going to pop that one down fairly close to my first one. And we'll see what happens just as I start to place some of these objects here. You can change the direction of the object once you pick it up and sort of click and drag over to the landscape. You can scroll the middle mouse wheel around to change the orientation of it. And this is so you can sort of fit it in particular places, but also just so you get the look that you like as well. And then once we've gotten rid of those 3 objects, oh, my teddy fell off, poor guy. It'll generate a new set of objects for us, and these little dots down the bottom basically indicate how many sets of objects you have left. And if you haven't filled up your green meter by the time you run out of objects, then you've got to restart the level. As far as the idea of narrative goes, it's something that pops up every now and again through the level system, and it's one of those little things that just makes the game that bit more interesting. This level to me really stood out, and the reason for it is because of this. If we just skip through this first part a little bit, I'm going to pop this plant here, and then also pop this table down. The next thing we get as far as the object goes are 3 chairs and 3 gnomes, and you just can't help but place the chairs around the table with the gnomes sitting on them. You know, it's obviously what we're meant to do, but it's this nice little feature where, you know, some thought has been put into the story behind these levels. It's not just random objects and random plants. And these little moments, I think, really make a big difference in the enjoyability of the game, and they're the things that I keep sort of looking for as I keep playing. When you press spacebar, it pulls up photo mode, and this gives you a chance to take a screenshot or to record a movie of your creation. This is a really nice feature, and I think as the community around this game grows, this sort of feature gives us a chance to share the things that we've created and also see what other people have been making in similar sorts of spaces to what we've been creating in. As well as a level-based system, there is a sandbox playstyle too, where you basically just start with a blank canvas and you can place objects and plants and create whatever you want. I'll give you a little bit of a look at what that's like now. If we jump into Sandbox Mode, basically you can choose the size of your structure and also the sort of texture of the ground that you're starting on. I'm going to choose a dirt one here, and you literally just get a patch of dirt, and you can sort of pop things onto this as you go. The way that the level system works is that while you're playing, when you complete a level, you'll unlock new objects to place in the sandbox style generator. And if I go up to this here, we'll be able to see all the different props that I've unlocked so far. So still quite a few to go. And there's heaps to choose from, heaps of different structures, heaps of different sort of like little objects to place around. And you can come up with some really interesting sort of scenes. You also have the option in the sandbox generator to change the lighting, and there's a number of wonderful different gradients to choose from. It'd be a great feature if in the future they allow you to change it to your own color palette, but they really do set the mood in a number of different ways, and you can just sort of, pick the one that suits the environment that you're going for the best. At any point you can save your progress too, and this works the same both if you're doing the level-based progression or if you're doing sandbox mode. There's no way I can tell of actually renaming the saves. That would be nice if they added that feature in down the track, but you get a pretty clear idea as to what's going on based off the thumbnail that you can see in the save window. There were a couple of parts that I found were a little bit clunky. Sometimes the object placement is a little bit off, so the things don't go exactly where you want them to. It's not often a big problem, however, sometimes they will destroy your plants if they fall the wrong direction, and that can be a little bit annoying if it wipes out sort of a large part of your crop. The other thing too is that once you place something, you can't change where it is, and I think this works alright for the level-based system because it sort of forces you to think a little bit about what you're doing before you place it, but it can be a little bit annoying in the sandbox system where it'd be nice if you just sort of jiggle things around a little bit, move them based on how the plants grow, maybe trim back the plants, but these are really sort of minor grievances. The visuals are really nice, you know, it's this Minecraft style sort of 8-bit aesthetic, but it works really well, and paired with the beautiful gradients you get in the background that sort of evoke Blade Runner-esque type sunsets, as well as the really calming music, the whole thing just sort of meshes together to make for a wonderful experience. Considering that you can pick the game up for about $5 and get hours and hours out of it, it's well worth the money, and I can only imagine that there's going to be more features added in the future. Thanks for watching the video, hopefully this helped you. I'm going to put together a little bit of a strategy guide as well, so keep an eye out for that, and I'd really love to hear sort of what you thought of the game in the comments section, and any of the unique sort of things that you found while playing it. I'll see you in the next video, catch you then.